guys and welcome to another episode of Lancer Custom Werks, where I will be discussing the various mech builds you could make and play with Lancer. Swallowtail can see everything, like seriously, that's the entire point of this mech. Forget about the other trait, let's just start with prophetic scanners because it's fucking bullshit. You lock on, that guy is shredded, practically any defense will not work anymore, and that makes Swallowtail probably the most lethal mech in the entire TTRPG just because of this, and I have fully experienced what being on the other end felt like. Thankfully, it's once per round, but that still means someone is completely screwed over for the turn, especially if it's something that's highly dependent on armor and resistance for survivability. It also has 20 fucking sensor range, so good luck not getting locked on by it, and it can also just turn invisible by the power of not fucking moving, so good luck hitting it too, and let's not forget about its core power, which is just I know fucking everything. It also has 5 repair caps, which is really high for a SSC mech, which also means it's simultaneously the most bullshit and the most practical SSC mech around. Moving on to the builds, which, I was expected there's not gonna be that many since Swallowtail is a support mech, but I was terribly wrong, so I had to painfully saw off almost 1/3 of the submissions. I'm afraid of what might come soon if this thing gets its turn. Anyway, in the following 40 builds, you will frequently find a ridiculous amount of Oracle because the low damage doesn't matter when everyone is getting shredded, ATHENA because information is ammunition, and Lotus Projector because more information is more ammunition. As for the role, I set everything up as half support because just by having that ridiculous sensor range, Swallowtail can perform a lot of support even accidentally, but for the other role, artillery stands the most, followed by controller, striker, and defender, because when you have the capability to just strip off any defense on the go, support by incredible violence is highly effective. Anyway, we gonna talk exactly about that. Don't move the floor is lava is what I would like to call as a very normal artillery Swallowtail, because with on-demand shredded, having all of your weapons as low damage auxiliary do not matter, not that you will deal low damage anyway. Also, cover doesn't work. This thing can also climb everywhere with mag clamp, get even more range with siege stabilizer, spot hidden target with Lotus Projector, and with autocooler plus Heatfall, you have even more action to shoot. Add in spotter, and you can provide even more lock on, and since you won't be moving much, you can even use the overcharge action to hide, which since you will be turning invisible, make you practically untouchable. This is basically Swallowtail in a nutshell. It can hit you hard, while you cannot do shit to it. And of course, it's not the only Oracle gunslinger build. This is UPDOG, which has ATHENA to see everything and lock onto everything, and Kinetic compensator, so if you ever miss, you won't be missing next time. Probably a lot simpler, but also less likely to be completely disrupted. The turtle has friends put a little mix on the Oracle spam Swallowtail build. With siege stabilizer, it can fire up to range 20 away, but when things get close, it can tuck in like a turtle with retractable profile, then send its drone out to kick the shit out of people. Remember, you cannot attack with retractable profile on, you can do everything else instead. I keep droning on and on mix in the Oracle with some light nexus for the painfulness of Centimane, plus, it also has held image for free lock on, which just mean free shred, and if that's not worrying enough, this Swallowtail also has access to Metafold Carver, which can pull people towards it in case they are trying to run away. Sadly for them, they will just die tired. Before you guys get sick of Oracle spam, I'm bringing in just one more build. This is Monty Python and the Holy Big
Shot.
I think you know what the gimmick here is already. Just ASURA, overcharge, and shoot something a lot in one turn. Hopefully, it's dead. Otherwise, continue shooting. Now, let's move on to literally anything else. This is Aperture Science Turret Noises, a Swallowtail with dual fusion rifle which do more damage the further the target is, so you want to climb somewhere high to keep distance and take advantage of tacticians, then just shoot. Dealing 6 damage per shot is already painful, and that's not counting in nuclear cavalier and crack shot yet. This is Lazylord. You just let Autogun handle the shooting, having the double auxiliary being retrofitted just to fit the Autogun but add in a not so usable Oracle is kinda painful, but it lets you do whatever you want with all of your actions, either throw all the lock-ons around, turn you and your allies invisible, or have the power of 2 HP to control the situations however you like. You can basically do all the support ever. You didn't see anything decided that instead of spending an action to lock on, just shoot and lock on at the same time with a nano comp black spot. The only problem with this build is that bonus auxiliary attack cannot deal bonus damage, so that Oracle is not going to hit as hard as it could have, but if it has a full barrage with 3 Oracle instead, that can hurt a lot. Also, Let's not forget about Marker Light, which can provide on-demand auto crit, and Pepcock to provide tech support for your allies. Plus, with Infiltrator, this Swallowtail can easily escape after firing, making it even harder to be hit. Finally, there's Shred the Flesh, Maim the Spirit, a rather shooty Swallowtail that puts some more points into hacking. If the target is very evasive, invade them and cook them up, or force them to move somewhere painful with Osiris or Horo S1. If the target cannot be hacked, you just put holes in them, there's nothing they can do. And that's all on the support artillery Swallowtail. It turns out that when you have on-demand shred, all of your weapons effectively have AP tag, except even better, just ripping anything that dare to move in your sight apart with disturbing ease. Now, let's move on to the second most numerous builds, the support controller builds. Sunzi at Home is a Swallowtail fully intended to abuse the heck out of its sensor range, that also has exactly 0 suns apart. It does this primarily with Beckoner, pulling people in or teleporting around like a maniac with health to spare, but it also has Ferris Lash and Mag Cannon to move people around however it wants, and let's not forget about all the Swallowtail systems it have to see everything. Ceiling Swallowtail is another very common configuration of Swallowtail build, Held Image, Spotter, Athena. That combo can easily apply lock-on to practically the entire enemy team, which benefit talent like Hacker to cook up the enemies even quicker. With Metahook and Retractable profile, this Swallowtail can easily do this from a safe distance too, and both Horo S systems it has can easily be used for control, support, and defense. Of course, with Swallowtail's sensor range, you can shove in any tech system and it will work, like this build called I Can See All and All I See Is Fire, which other than having all the invade systems, can also climb all over the damn place and have Autopod for basically free damage because of all the lock-on that can also knock people around with Stormbringer for even more mobility. This is Keep Away Heat Slinker, a typical Swallowtail with Spotter, Athena, Veil Rifle, and Black Thumb for support when Athena is on the wheel, but also built to use aggressive system sync to cook up enemies rapidly by constantly running away from them before handing them the last argument to set them on fire, with other invade systems to continue annoy the heck out of the hostile. It does exactly what it says on the tin, is another Infiltrator Swallowtail that can see everything with Eye of Horus and Lotus Projector, so even if something is hiding, it can easily spot them and annoy the hell out of them with Burst Launcher or Neurospike, then swiftly escape from incoming fire. And again, if you are not attacking, Retractable profile will make your life a lot easier. Just crouch down, and throw Athena and whatever you have around, like making fortifications with Forge 2. Ghostweave here is also very useful on turn where you are relocating for better position, making you practically untouchable. You could also throw a bunch of drones around with Retractable profile on like with this build, so your drones can support and hurt people at range goddamn 20. If you cannot tell, I'm seriously running out of dictionaries to describe how ridiculously good 20 sensor range can be, because there's only so many ways I could say they just work because of the sheer tactical flexibility they have after making so many episodes of the series. Here's something different, Lotus Eater, a Swallowtail with Sisyphus and Marker Light to make sure someone will crit, or use it with universal compatibility to repeat the core power again. It also has a more reasonable usage of Autogun, so it only need a skirmish for max damage per turn. Finally, there's Trust Not Your Sense, Trust Only Me, a half-lich Swallowtail with Didymos, Stay of Execution, Anti-Linear Time. Would have been nice to have Unhinged Chronology, but there's only so much space. It even has a OP Cal Unraveler to completely annihilate something. And that's all on the support controller Swallowtail builds, because I'm getting really tired. Just to sum it all up, 20 sensor range, really fucking good. You can do whatever the fuck you want with that. Moving on, support striker. Huntsman, the showdown, is what I would like to call a typical striker Swallowtail. This thing can just teleport 20 spaces with Beckoner, or Bloody Fly, and choke someone to death by bludgeoning them with all the melee weapons or the Titan Omichi Duelist Siege Ram combo, because when you have on-demand shredded, no defense ever mattered. Fools Feel No Fear is a Seekomet Swallowtail that can dangle off the wall with reinforced cabling before murder the hell out of someone with a chain axe. You know how this works, everyone know how this works, so let's move on. I didn't pick a mech with 5 base repair cap to be a backliner. Is a Swallowtail that goes ham on moving straight towards the enemy to form a blink space beachhead with the tunneler, before immediately turning invisible with Cloaking Field and shoot anyone that gets too close. Smoke Train is a Fomorian battle taxi Swallowtail. Yes! Yes! It's very easy to use. You just carry someone and run like a maniac while shooting and supporting everything in sight. You even have Technophile Black Thumb combo to patch up mech rapidly, and with your bigger size, the Cloaking Field also get bigger. Finally, keyword attack is a half-blad Swallowtail because amusingly, a lot of blad systems fit with Swallowtail, especially with retractable profile because in Lancer, impaling someone with a giant fucking spike doesn't count as an attack, also, impaler, because fuck your legs. And that's all on the support striker Swallowtail, which works surprisingly well thanks to its decent survivability, repair cap, and of course, on-demand shredded, that might need a lock-on, but with held image, you don't even need to spend an action to lock onto your next victim. And finally, support defender. My emotional support minigun is an Argonaut shield equipped Swallowtail with enough mass to protect its allies, also Aegis shield generator, and since you won't be moving much, you could use assault cannon rather effectively, and if you do need to move, you can just cable winch onto someone and have them move you instead. Also, flashbang. One for the experienced rodeo clown is a dual sentinel drone Swallowtail, just to convince people to not shoot at you or your buddies, not that they will hit anyway with the cloaking field on, and with all the lock-on from held image, spotter, and ATHENA, you and your allies won't be missing. Dr. Horizon's mobile bar and grill is a Noah Swallowtail which also has retractable profile just to make it harder to be hit. It doesn't stack with the cloaking field, but you can protect more of your allies this way through a double-layered defense. Finally, there's perfectly normal backline support mech, a cloaking field Swallowtail with hyperdense armor that is extremely lethal to anything that gets too close, because if they get shot, they are trapped thanks to Exemplar. It's also a Swallowtail, so if thing doesn't want to get close, it can just run towards them. And that's all on the support defender Swallowtail, which are rather effective due to Swallowtail's high survivability and durability. It just works, I guess. Now, what's left? Right, that build. This is operational capacity significantly impaired, which is an unique submission so to speak. The primary role of Swallowtail is still support after all, and this build does exactly that. Once again, with retractable profile, it doesn't matter what tool you use as long as you don't attack, and amusingly, this works with total strength suite 1, because throwing boulder at people doesn't count as an attack. And that's all 40 Swallowtail builds finished. I would like to once again thank all the submitters who have sent in their builds for this episode. I have wanted to see how far one could push the Swallowtail frame thanks to its on-demand shredded trait, and from what I have seen, it was quite nuts. Anyway, here's the topic for the next episode. I'm deeply afraid of this one. That's all for now, and I will see you all next time. Hello there, if you like this video, please subscribe to my channel and click that notification bell button. If you really want to support my channel, you could visit my Patreon page, or buy me some coffee, links in the description. Anyway, have a nice day.